Mike Gallagher, Mark Levine, a fair and balanced debate on the new immigration polls just released and the president of Mexico's fiery remarks to the U.S. Congress just a couple of hours ago. Upcoming. Plus, Mike, Mark, Gallagher versus Levine in a no-holds-barred debate over immigration and the speech by the Mexican president today. And I'm the referee. Game on. 3 minutes away.
I believe in bridge. I believe in communication. I believe in cooperation. We must find together a better way to face and fix this common problem.
2:32 here in the East, and we now have over 13,000 people weighing in on Mexico's President Felipe Calderón, lashing out at Arizona over the new immigration crackdown on the floor of the U.S. Congress. He spoke before a joint meeting of Congress in Washington and did not pull any punches.
I am convinced that a comprehensive immigration reform is also crucial to securing our common border. However, I strongly disagree with the recently adopted law in Arizona.
Trace Gallagher, President Calderón's comments down in Washington playing out against the backdrop of some brand new Fox polls when it comes to this issue. No one has seen these numbers before. We've got them for you right now. Take a look. We asked, you answered. Question was, are you in favor of local law enforcement questioning anyone that they think is in America illegally? 65% said yes. Just 30% said no. And then there is this. Are you in favor of local law enforcement detaining anyone who cannot prove their immigration status? 76% yes, 19% no. And then there's this one. Are you in favor of requiring people to show their documents to prove their immigration status? 84% said yes, they're in favor. Just 13% said no. Joining me now for a fair and balanced debate, Mike Gallagher, Fox News contributor, and Mark Levine, radio talk show host. Gentlemen, this is a continuation of numbers we saw last week and the week before. Mike, the people of this country continue to favor the Arizona law and the policies embodied therein, despite what the Mexican president feels.
I don't know what it's going to take, Megan, for the left, the ardent left, to recognize that the American public is thrilled with what Arizona has done. It is so appalling to watch the Mexican president lecture us about what Arizona should or shouldn't do when anyone knows the abysmal treatment that Mexico gives to illegal immigrants in their country. There, it's a felony. There, you go to jail in Mexico. And for Felipe Calderón to come here to the applause of some Democrats in the well of Congress today, it's appalling, it's shocking, and you know, it once again reminds Americans why they're turning some of these politicians out at the polls. Enough is enough, and people are fed up and sick, and Calderón has a lot of gall to come to our country and lecture us about how we're trying to answer the problem that has originated from his people flowing north. Nobody's going south. They're all coming north across the border, and Felipe Calderón ought to be ashamed of himself for his comments today in
Mark,
Washington, D.C.
Mike is right that until recently it was a crime to be an illegal in Mexico. Now it's become a civil violation, but Mexico's law at the moment looks an awful lot like Arizona's.
You know, Mike said there weren't many people going south. There's actually a tremendous amount of guns going south. Felipe Calderón devoted about 15 seconds to the Arizona law, but he spent several minutes in his speech talking about the criminal gangs, the terrorists in Mexico, the U.S. arms dealers are arming. They now lost 10,000 Mexican citizens last year. That's 3 times 9/11. When we had 9/11, we invade Afghanistan. We're lucky that he's not coming across the border in Arizona. We need to help them fight the criminal gangs rather than worry about the mother of the child talking to President Obama.
Right.
In this analogy, the United States is Al-Qaeda, and Mexico is the United States?
Not the United States. Not the United States, but the U.S. arms dealers. There's 7,000 gun shops on the border with Mexico, and they sell semi-automatic machine guns where you can just go like this and kill 35 people. Now, the Republicans think that terrorists have a right to own guns, and it's those terrorists that are going across the border. Democrats are trying to stop any terrorist, whether it's a criminal drug gang or Al-Qaeda, from owning these guns. We need to help President Calderon.
Go ahead, Mike.
Leave it to you, Mark, to blame U.S. arms dealers for the poor miseries of the poor people of Mexico. You've got to be kidding me. Why don't you take 5 seconds? Excuse me. Why don't you take 5 seconds, Mark, and whine about the people who have been murdered by illegals who have come in here and have raped and killed and destroyed
Mexicans
lives
dead from U.S. guns.
Why don't you ever worry about Why don't you ever worry about American citizens who are victims of illegal Mexican immigrants? Why does your side never worry about that?
Mike, that's why I want U.S. law enforcement to do exactly what they're doing. I want them to focus on the Mexican criminal drug gangs and not on the mother of the little girl who spoke to Michelle Obama.
But Mark, let me ask you this. Okay, that's fine. So President Calderon can focus on that, and we can do our part here in the United States to tamp down to the extent we can. But what of it, Mark? Do you think it's appropriate for the Mexican president to come to the floor of the U.S. Congress and call out a specific law that he doesn't like? Do you think President Obama would do that if he were down in Mexico or elsewhere?
I would hope he would. You know, we like
That's a question from one of our viewers.
Soviet Union. The president has often gone to the former Soviet Union, called them out. I like when the president called out Uganda on a really awful law they did. It is the role of presidents to go out and defend their citizens. Absolutely, it's the right thing to do. Although we know this law is unconstitutional anyway.
It's not the role of a president to go to another country and lecture another country about their ability to try to deal with the problem. Listen, the poll numbers don't lie. Mark sees them. We all see them. 80%, 85%. Americans are rallying behind Arizona. Like Sarah Palin put it, we're all Arizonans now. And Felipe Calderon and his band of thugs in Mexico just don't get it. Thankfully, our side gets it.
Double
and we're
your
going to
taxes.
fight to take our country back.
You're gonna pay double your taxes to deport 10 million Americans? Why can't we focus on the criminal drug gangs instead of Jose, who's in the garden, who's trying to live the American dream? Why do you want to divert police resources?
All right, and we are going to have to answer. We're going to have to answer Mark's question about Jose tomorrow, and I am officially inviting both of you back to continue this debate.
All right.
So I appreciate it. All the best to both of you. Thanks so much.